Welcome to the Quantum Leap Podcast, where we help business professionals like you take your life and business to the next level. I'm Jay Jones, your host and guide on this journey of growth and transformation. So let's get ready to make your quantum leap in both your personal and professional life. Let's dive in and make every moment count. Episode 2 of the Quantum Leap Podcast is about true freedom. So let's get started. We as Americans recently celebrated our Independence Day. But sadly, many of us are not free in our minds. We are held captive by fear and arrogance without even knowing it. Now, if our minds do not have the ability to reason through what is true and what is false, are we really free? I am of the opinion that this captivity is the worst of all. Look, if you look around at other people in person, on TV, you may have already come to the realization that people don't seem to have the ability to reason very well, at least not much. There's a much greater explanation for this seemingly absence of reason. It's because there's an epidemic of people that are being held captive by our two greatest enemies, arrogance and fear. So let me try to explain this in very clear terms. Fear is not what most people think that it is. The vast majority of people think that fear is the same as danger, but it is far from it. Fear is deep-seated emotional beliefs within oneself, such as, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, something's wrong with me, I'm not enough. There's not enough money, love, respect, etc. for me. I don't belong. I'm on my own and not in a good way. Now look, when we have these deep-seated emotional beliefs, they can trigger us into what I like to call a simulated fight or flight response. Now, unfortunately, many people are in a state of being perpetually triggered into this state. The science tells us that when anyone goes into fight or flight, the reasoning center of the brain is actually shut down. You go into mental prison. Now, without the ability to reason, we are easily manipulated by others and can't see the difference between truth and falsehoods oftentimes. Now, as you can imagine, this is extremely problematic. And when large masses of people are in this state, it is very detrimental to society, much less to your life and your own personal business. Now, you need to understand the second cat. And this one is much more problematic of the two. That's arrogance. Now, arrogance is actually a form of fear that manifests itself in a very different way. It usually leads those in its bond to sociopathic behaviors. Now, look, although those in this captivity may not be diagnosable as sociopaths yet, the behaviors that they exhibit are the same nonetheless. Now, for you to understand arrogance, you need to understand the three major forms of arrogance. The first is bigotry. Whether it be racism, sexism, classism, religious bigotry, homophobia, anti-Semitism, and Islamophobia, ageism, one of the several other forms, bigotry is pure arrogance. Now, we all know that oftentimes this form of arrogance leads to many of the most public and private acts of hatred and sociopathic behavior that we see. And there is a total absence of reasoning when someone is in this state. Now, Pride is the second form of arrogance, but it's a much more complicated one due to there being a good form of pride and a very bad form of pride. So let me define the two. The good form or good version of pride is being proud of a loved one or of yourself for something done or accomplished. It's a form of admiration and love for others or oneself that is healthy and good. But the bad form of pride is when someone believes that they don't need other people, that other people are just stepping stones to get to a means to an end, that they're dispensable. Now, this bad form of pride is the most deceptive of all of the forms of arrogance because the person that is held captive by it will lie and deceive and cheat anyone around them to achieve their goals and desires. The third form of arrogance is self righteousness. Now, this form is most commonly associated with religion, but can encompass everything from academia to politics. Now, people that are being held captive by this form of arrogance, often the wolves in sheep's clothing. They are true believers that they are doing and speaking the right thing always, and that anyone that does not believe what they believe are completely wrong. Now, look, as we can see from history, this leads to some of the most horrible acts and atrocities. It justifies a lot of really bad behavior in the minds of many of those people. So, look, unfortunately, if you are being held captive by either fear or arrogance due to the impairment of your brain's reasoning abilities, you're probably not aware of it fully, if at all. That is to say that it is the worst captivity because sometimes you're in a prison that you don't even realize you're in. Look, this state robs you of your ability to make conscious choices for your life and business. And it's important to understand that neuroscience has proven that we are subconscious 95% of the time already. This is due to the amount of energy that conscious awareness requires. So, for you to be able to go into conscious awareness, even that 5% of the time, you must free yourself of fear and arrogance. You think about this. Conscious awareness is critical for strategic thinking, planning, time management. It allows us to analyze our results and behaviors and make conscious choices to change and to improve. It is extremely critical that we all have this ability if success is our goal. Now, look, the good news is that you can break free from your captors. Now, it's not fast, and it takes consistency and dedication. It requires that you commit to reconditioning your subconscious mind and the deep-seated emotional programming that continues to trigger you into these states. Now, after careful study of this for many years with coaching clients that I've worked with, and through much review of research, I created a set of affirmations that over time will help free you of the things that can trigger you into states of fear and arrogance. Now, if you would like to receive a copy of these affirmations, go to our website at www.quanticocoaching.com. Again, that's CUANTICO coaching.com. And hit the contact button at the top of the page. All you need to do is provide your first and last name and email address and a quick note that says, please send affirmations. And we will email you a copy so that you can achieve true freedom, mental freedom over time. So thank you for listening in on today's episode of the Quantum Leap Podcast, and we look forward to seeing you on our next episode. Have a great day.